Hello everyone and welcome back. It is Christian here from the Calcio Bros, and when another video comes up, you know what that means? It means another weekend of Serie A has passed by. So that means it is time to talk about it, and boy oh boy, there was plenty of surprises that happened this past round of Serie A. Also, just want to mention, I know this video will be posted a little bit later than usual. A bit of a work schedule change, as well as a long weekend here in Ontario. So I had to enjoy the long weekend when we could have. So, anyways, finally get right to it. Talk about what happened, and considering there's some not couple of shocking results, couple upsets, and it really makes everything more interesting going forward in Serie A, because it means everything's getting tighter. It's getting down to the nitty gritty, but still, there's a lot of games still to be played. But these matches and these results really make it all much more interesting and entertaining to watch, and we just are there to watch it unfold, right? So, anyways, enough of me ramble on. Let's get right into the results and what happened in round 22 of Serie A. So we had one game starting on Friday, February 12th, 2:45, which was Bologna-Benevento. Sansone got Bologna off to a flying start, but Captain Viola for Benevento gets the equalizing goal and ties it. So at the Dallada, it finishes 1-1 here. Moving on to Saturday, February 13th, starting off at 9 a.m., we had Torino-Genoa. Genoa, as we know, have been flying as of late. They are undefeated now in their last 5, looking very well, playing great football under Ballardini, and continue their rise up the table. Torino still looking for their first win under new coach Davide Nicola. This game finishes as a goalless draw. Torino now have tied their last 5 straight games now. Nicola still looking for his first win after 4. The point is important considering all the teams under them drop points, but they still need some points. They need a win to help push themselves a little bit farther away and distance themselves from the rest of the bottom teams in the relegation zone, while Genoa is getting the points they need to keep moving up the table and further away from the relegation zone, because at one point they were looking like they would have been relegated. So they are getting closer to survival. Ballardini once again doing an excellent job here. Moving on to the midday game now, we had an epic matchup here between Napoli and Juventus. Now remember, this is the first time in Serie A that they have played. They still are missing the one game that they were supposed to play in Turin. Who knows when that's going to be played. But right now, in this game here in Naples, Napoli took the victory 1-0 thanks to a Lorenzo Insigne penalty, and it was his first goal on a penalty in 4 attempts, as he missed his last 3 against Juve in all competitions. So that was a huge confidence booster, and especially for Napoli, as their backline, they were missing Hisaj, Koulibaly, Manolas. So they're playing not the starters they would have liked in their backline. Well, of course, other than Di Lorenzo, but in their center back pairings of Ramani and Maximovic, who of course are the third, fourth choice center backs, did an excellent job in containing the Juventus attack. Juve did have their chances. Oh, and I can't forget that Meret actually did play. He wasn't supposed to play. It was supposed to be Ospina, but he injured himself in the warm-ups and still did a fantastic job when called upon to get to help his team to a victory at the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. Now, to end off Saturday, we had one of the upsets of the weekend was Spezia beating Milan 2-0. I know a lot of people kind of saw this coming. A lot of people probably did not see this coming, and I have spoke about this as well, how important it was for Milan to get a victory here, but we're going to talk more about that a little bit later on. Now we move on to Sunday, Valentine's Day matchups. Starting off at 6:30 was Roma hosting Udinese, where the Giallorossi rebounded after a difficult loss last weekend to Juve, where they got the victory here, 3-0, taking it away thanks to help of Veretout, Pedro getting back on the scoreboard, and yes, a couple from Veretout there. Um, they also did have another goal disallowed as well, but anyways, it does help them get back right on track as well, and helps them move up the standings because of Juve's loss as well. Then at 9 a.m. we had two games that went on. We had Sampdoria Fiorentina. Sampdoria taking the victory here 2-1. They continue their good form as well. Quagliarella, the ageless wonder, scoring once again. And he just does not seem to want to stop scoring at all, continuing a good season for him. While Fiorentina are still quite a bit of way from the relegation zone, but still another disappointing defeat. They are winless in their last 3 matches. They're still, again, like I said, a decent amount of points away from the relegation, but they would probably hope to get either a win again or at least a draw at the Ferraris. The other one was Cagliari Atalanta at 9 a.m., where Cagliari are still looking for their first win since November. They go on to lose this in the end, 1-0, thanks to super sub Muriel finding the late winner. Cagliari thought they had a penalty as well, as Rugani had gone down in the box, but it was judged that he had kicked, I believe it was Martin de Royn, and the referee overturned the decision, and Cagliari did not get the chance to equalize there. So that is another game without a win for Cagliari. They probably again would have taken the draw, but they just could not hold on in the end. Their hopes of survival are really looking grim. But what do you do when you're losing games? You go and re-sign your coach to a new contract. I still can't get over that. Other teams, you would have seen them gone, but they go and reward their coach for a terrible form this season with a new contract. Please tell me how that is the right choice to do. Anyways, let's move on now. Midday, we had Crotone hosting Sassuolo. Sassuolo finally getting a victory after being winless in their last 5, really lacking confidence. So they get a huge victory over last place Crotone to help build from that. Crotone did have their moments to win this as well. If they can honestly get the best out of Adam Unas, even though they didn't score against Milan, he did look pretty good. He scored a great solo effort here against Sassuolo. If they can get the best out of him and Junior Macias, and maybe Simi as well, who seems to be playing from the bench now, who was at one point they're one of their best players. If they can get the best out of their front 3, they can get more goals, and they can definitely win some games and get survival. But again, it's not all about the offense, it's also as well as the defense. So they really need to work on all ends of the pitch if they do want to move out from at least being the bottom team. But it just wasn't meant to be. Again, Sassuolo picking up an important victory as they finally get a win and kind of creep up just behind Napoli. Still a bit of a distance, but not too far now. 2:45 matchup on Valentine's Day was Inter hosting Lazio, where when Inter go on to halt Lazio's winning streak, they take the victory 3-1 here. We're going to talk about that as well. But with that victory as well, I do want to mention that now Inter go top of the table. We'll talk about that as well. And to end off round 22, we had one game on the Monday, February 15th at 2:45. Was Verona Parma. Again, Parma, another team where they have been winless for so long now. This is their 13th match without a win, and this is their second goal in only 8 games now. So that is very hard for them to, especially win anything if they can't seem to get any goals going. Fiorentina were able to rebound off 2 consecutive defeats, and they would hope to build on this if they want to qualify for any European Championship and maybe knock one of the bigger teams away out of this. So those were all the matchups there for round 22. Be sure to let me know what you guys thought about these matchups and what you guys think. Were there any results that really did surprise you? Are there any results you really want me to talk about or that you would wish I would talk about, depending on what I say? now. But anyways, be sure to comment below. Let me know. So let's talk about some crucial results or some important matchups here. So starting off with Napoli Juve. Now there were a couple incidents in the first half here. So there was the supposed handball with Chiellini, which you've kind of, I know backers turned on the corner and he didn't know where the ball was, but we have sort of kind of seen it where this happened in the Bologna-Milan game where Suamaro was kind of called for the same thing, but I feel he wasn't. His arms, there's more distance between him and Ibra compared to Chiellini. Very tight distance, happened so fast where he didn't really get a chance. He wasn't really looking at the ball. That's probably why the ref didn't call it, and it just made out of space. But anyways, potential penalty there. And Chiellini, again, speaking of him, he's the one that caused the foul, to which Insigne converted the spot kick. But he goes and face palms. Was it Fabian Ruiz or Maximovic? I can't remember who it was. I believe it could have been Maximovic. But anyways, it was, it's, or it could have been Romani. I really don't know. But anyways, we've seen fouls given for a lot of face slaps, even though players do make the most of it. I feel we can all, unless it's really severe, there was no blood, but we've all seen players just get a light tap on the face and they go down like they've just been punched. Like, we've all seen that. We can all agree on that. Something that does need to be changed there. One little fingertip and they decide to, flail. That's kind of disappointing about the game anyways. But you could fully see Chiellini shove the defender's face. I know it was a defender, I think. But anyways, he shoved it, and we have seen fouls like that called outside the box. So if if you're calling that outside the box, I feel you should call that inside the box. That's my way of looking at it as well. But I guess it kind of depends. I don't know, but I feel most of the time if it's the same type of foul outside the box, it should be the same type of foul in the box. So there's no really differences there. But anyways, Ronaldo halted, Morata halted, Chiesa even had a couple opportunities, but Meret did well to save any Juventus attempts that he could, especially that he wasn't even supposed to start. Ospina has seemed to be Gattuso's number one, but maybe if Meret starts putting in more performances like this, he could perhaps, sorry about that, it's been another long day at work. He could perhaps maybe take away the starting position once Ospina does come back? Or do you feel that perhaps Ospina will still be the number one goalie once he comes back from injury? So it really does depend, but maybe, because this is what we expected Meret, because he was supposed to be one of the top goalkeepers of Italy, but he has really had some lackluster performances with Napoli, so that of course did not help him keep the starting position. He would hope to get more consistency out of him too, because that's been his issue. But I feel he's one of those goalkeepers who do need to play more to develop those skills. Look at Donnarumma. He really had a couple of seasons where he wasn't the greatest, especially with his feet. A lot of times his challenging on crosses weren't the greatest. He all that sort of stuff. But look at where he is now. He's been able to work on them. He makes very minimal mistakes because he's been able to develop, see where he needs to improve on, and the playing time helps him get to that. So if I'm making some sense here, if you have anything else to agree or disagree on that, be sure to comment below and let me know. But I do feel if Meret can be consistent, he can really take the starting spot for Napoli. But depends how much faith Gattuso does have in him. But we probably will see him play a bit more depending on how long Ospina is out of the lineup for. Now, to the shock that happened of the weekend with Spezia beating Milan here, their first ever victory over a big club, especially one like Milan. I don't think anyone. Some people probably did expect this or expect Spezia giving Milan some issues here, and they really did, because even right from the get-go, it didn't seem like Milan had any idea what they were doing. They really did seem lost. They couldn't get anything forward, and they couldn't survive with Italiano's high press of Spezia, and it did cause them really big issues at the back. And surprisingly, Milan didn't really have a shot on net. They didn't really trouble Providel at all. They just really didn't get anything going for them. They did not have a single shot, and it's rare to see Milan not have a shot on net in any game and not score. They did have the only game they really did not score in before this was against Atalanta, but they at least did trouble Golini on a couple of occasions. But this now makes this more Milan's difficult period. This is their third loss in so many games, especially in 2021. And Pioli really now needs to find the best out of his team. If he needs to get the right mentality going. I know Scudetto was never the option. I know some players are trying to aim for it, and that's good. But if they don't get it, they should be pleased at how they performed throughout the season. I know Ibrahimovic, of course, will see nothing less more than a Scudetto, but considering the objectives was always top four, it'd still be a good achievement in itself to especially get back into the Champions League. But if they can get the Scudetto in the end, they will deserve it considering the season that they've had. But now it's time to see how Pioli can get the men going and how to react, considering that, again, this is their most delicate time where they have seemed to have struggled as of late. But kudos to Spezia. Even after this win, I feel they should stay up, considering they've played some of the best football this year. Italiano has really got them going, and yes, they did have a difficult period, but they are really starting to play as a whole unit. A lot of players stepping up into roles that really they need to be. Those leadership roles have helped, and this shows. And they've had one of the best starts of any newly promoted team that we've seen. And even though they are kind of close, if they pick up results like this or just lots of points in general, they're not going to go down at all. They will stay up for sure. And considering they're also the highest, or they're the highest team in the standings of the newly promoted sides currently this year. So they have done an excellent job so far in getting points and getting results. So be sure to see Spezia maybe give more trouble to other big sides. They did give trouble to Roma as well. They did get some trouble to Juve at the beginning before they did lose. They did beat Napoli. Well, actually, yeah, I almost forgot they did beat Napoli as well. But considering now that they topple league leaders Milan, it does open up new opportunities of the season going forward for both sides as well. Well, kind of for both sides, and you guys know what I mean. Now talking about Inter Lazio. Now this one again, now Lazio were the most informed team going into the game, and Inter really needed a win, knowing that a win would see them go first, especially that Milan lost and they need to take full advantage. It did open up with a penalty. It did look dubious at first. Wesley Howitt, who again was also another player who wasn't supposed to start the match, but had to take over after Radu had picked up an injury during the warm-up. At first, it did look like he had gotten the ball, but if you take the frame-by-frame view of the incident between him and Lautaro Martinez, Howitt did first hit the knee, then get the ball, so it was a foul. Ref did review it. I can't remember if he actually did go to the VAR, but either way, the call stood, and he opened the scoring. Now Lazio in this game did dominate possession, but they didn't really create. They had their chances, but they just couldn't capitalize on the possession that they had. Inter did capitalize on the counter a lot of throughout the match. The second goal for Inter was kind of lucky, if in some sense, because the way it just ricocheted off. Was it Brozovic? No, Brozovic tried doing something, but it ricocheted off the Lazio player in the direction of Lukaku, who did score, but it was originally deemed to be offside. but after a silent check, the call got reversed, and it was honestly a very close call considering I thought a chair would be Captain Mom, who is playing on the left side, but it wasn't a chair to be. It was a defender behind Lukaku that even the linesman did not see because of how big Lukaku is. So it was a very tight call, but if you do see the freeze frame on the VAR, it was a correct call to overturn it and give the goal to Lukaku. And in this game, he did score his 300th career goal for club and country. One of the youngest players to do so. He is really underrated for that. Kudos to Lukaku and his run in the second half too, catching Lazio on their counter attack. And there's no chance Marco Parolo is gonna catch up with Lukaku. He's just too fast for him. Like, there's no chance. He squared it to Martinez, who made no mistake from the empty net. Lazio's goal did come through a deflection off a Milinkovic-Savic free kick, and like I said, they did have their chances, but just couldn't really capitalize it. So Handanovic also playing his 500th game in Serie A. Not many players have done so, but kudos to him for reaching that milestone as well. He has honestly been around forever, it feels. But huge win for Inter as now they go on top going into the derby. And I did speak about how Inter needed to capitalize against the bigger sides, while Milan needed to also get their victories against the lower sides. But Inter pulling away the victories here. They go in with a 1 point advantage into the derby next weekend. So that's going to be a really feisty affair. Going to be a very heated matchup, considering what we also got in the Coppa Italia fixture as well. So we're sure to be in for something special next weekend. So also that just want to touch on Parma as well. Another winless match for them. They have just looked poor as well. They will most likely, it seems like they are also going to be the team to get relegated, as well as they're only 1 point above Crotone. And I guess speaking of points anyways, I guess we'll get into the standings. I know I kind of jumped for that, but I realized I also did talk about Parma earlier in the matchup. So anyways, bottom three are still Cagliari, Parma, Crotone. Cagliari with 15, Parma with 13, and Crotone with 12. Now, Torino with their point moves 2 points away from Cagliari, sitting at 17 points. So they're not far, but they're picking up points that they need, and the points have helped them move out of the relegation zone, but they do need a win to help further the distance. Fiorentina are only 7 points from the relegation zone, sitting at 22. Benevento, Udinese, Spezia, and Bologna all tied at 24 points. That's a 9 point gap from them and Cagliari. It does seem like they will definitely stay safe, but they all need to pick up points and hope Cagliari, Parma maintain their winless run, while Genoa have moved up all the way to 11th place at 25 points. So once again, Ballardini has done exceptionally well with the side and has continued to bring them up the standings, and will most likely secure safety with them, and we'll hope to keep this run going throughout the season. Now going to the top half of the table, Verona wins and moves to 33, just a point behind Sassuolo at 34. There are respectively 8th and 9th place, so still some distance from the 7th, with Lazio, who sits at 40 points, but they're also tied with Atalanta, who sits in 6th, and Napoli with 40 at 5. That win with Napoli was huge, because again, they push up the standings, get it closer to the Champions League spot, move within 2 points of Juventus, and have the slender advantage going into the game against them in Turin. Yes, it's only 1-0, but that still 1-0 is crucial, as Juve do have to win by more goals now if they want to win that head-to-head. If it wasn't for, Napoli have all these losses, they need if they can get a few more draws and more wins, they could really be pushing for that top 4, especially. But 7 losses in 21 games, it's been really hard for them. Again, the consistency is key with Napoli, and that's what they need going forward if they hope to get into that top 4. Juve is holding the fourth spot at 42 points. Roma, taking advantage of Juve's slip up, regains their third place spot at 43. Now they're only 6 points behind Milan, who are in second place, as I said before, and Inter, who are first with 50 points. So, like I said, it's going to all heat up next weekend because everything's going to really start getting closer, and especially with Milan and Inter, that's going to be important at the top of the table because like I said, now head to head is very important. I do speak a lot of it because again, it can make or break where a team finishes, whether it be relegation, Europa League, Champions League, or even this Scudetto. So next week's game is going to be very interesting. So those are the standings. Let me know how you think where a team could finish. Do you think they can finish higher or lower than where they are now? Do you think certain teams are going to escape the relegation zone, or do you think who we have in the bottom three are the ones being relegated? Be sure to let me know. Now we're going to end off this video, of course, with talking about the round 23 matchups that are coming up this weekend. So we have two games actually on the Friday. So we have one at 12:30, which is Fiorentina Spezia. If I said 12:30, I feel like I did. But anyways, again, 12:30. Spezia looking to continue their final run after defeating Milan, going to the Artemio Franchi. While Fiorentina, after that disappointing defeat last round to Sampdoria, want to just help get their first win in 3 games and continue being more consistent and just again push further away and from the relegation zone, even though they are a bit of a distance, but just to help move up the standings. At 2:45, we have Cagliari Torino. So this is going to be a huge one too, because if Cagliari can finally get a win, they will move ahead of Torino, putting them back in the relegation zone. While Nicola wants to take advantage of how of Cagliari's struggles so far, and perhaps will hopefully get his first win and put a bit of a not a distance, but just a bit of a cushion between Torino and Cagliari for that third relegation spot. So very tight affair here at the bottom. Moving on to Saturday now, February 20th, 9 a.m., which is Lazio Sampdoria. Both teams will look to capitalize on their recent success. Yes, Lazio did lose last game, but they're still one of the more informed teams, and they want to rebound with a victory, move up the standings potentially into that 4th spot temporarily, and hopefully that's where they can stay. But that's where they want to be, and they will hope another one can help put them back up there. While Sampdoria, they're in mid-table right now. They just want to keep going, keep getting results whenever they can, and just continue their rise up the table, and maybe put a surprise for a 7th spot. They're only 10 points away, but anything can happen going forward. But again, I think they're okay being that mid-table, but they just want to be consistent, pick up points when they need. Even a draw would suffice for them, most likely, but a win would be huge. 12 o'clock is Genoa Verona. Both teams coming off, Genoa not coming off victory, but they're in a good form right now. So two great sides right now, both in pretty good form. I still want to say Verona's in pretty good form just because of the season they've had as well. But another tight affair here. Ballardini just wants to keep going, get as many points as he can, just try to get away from the relegation zone, and he's done an exceptional job of doing that with only 1 loss so far, or maybe 2 losses, I think. I can't remember, but I know he has 1 loss for sure. Anyways, while Juric again wants to get his side going just to also maybe push for that last Europa League spot. 2:45 Sassuolo Bologna. Sassuolo finally getting a win, trying to be more confident. They want to hope to get another win going, get a second one. Would help as well, considering the lackluster performance that were coming, and they want to keep pushing to surprise, maybe sneak into that 7th spot. So that 7th spot is going to be really tight, especially if these other teams are going to challenge for it. While Bologna just again want to have some consistency, keep pulling away, getting the points just to move away. Again, they're quite a few points away from relegation, but they just want to get as many points just to assure themselves and push for that 40 point mark. Now to open up Sunday at 6:30 on February 21st, we have Parma Udinese. So Parma looking to finally get a victory. Again, they've been several months without one while trying to take on an Udinese side. 2 wins in their last 5. They did lose last round out to Roma. But they need to be sure of how many goals they can score. If they don't score goals, then they definitely won't be able to get a victory. So hoping to take away from, again, a very inconsistent Udinese side, but with one Musso between the sticks, it could be very difficult considering the form and the struggle that Parma have had up front. 9 a.m. now, we have the big game of the weekend, the Derby della Madonnina between Milan and Inter. This is going to be, like I said, a very emotional affair, feisty affair. We're going to see definitely some heated moments throughout this match. The last two derbies this year have really given us something to look forward to, and both of them have finished in a 2-1 result. One for Milan, who were away, one for Inter, who were at home. So we're going to see another 2-1 result, or we're going to see something different entirely. Inter need a win to get the head-to-head. A 1-0 won't do. They need at least a 2-0 result to have the full advantage over Milan, because even if they just win a 1-0, yes, they will go 4 points ahead of Milan, but if Milan manage to regain themselves and catch up and tie Inter at the end of the season and to finish first, it would go towards Milan to get the victory. So lots to play for. Milan really want to pick themselves up going forward and just try to get their season back on track. Yes, they can definitely qualify for Champions League, but they just need to make sure they get results and be consistent and just get back on how they were playing during that long undefeated run. So be sure to tune in for this one. You do not want to miss it. At 12 o'clock too, we do have another game as well that you probably do not want to miss. Atalanta hosting Napoli. Napoli taking the victory last time around 4-1. So that was a huge loss for Atalanta. Now 2 sides in 2 different places as well. Yes, they are tied on points as well, but anything can happen now. Napoli again have been very inconsistent, but they will hope to get themselves going again, and another win against Atalanta would be crucial considering Atalanta too are a free-flowing attacking scoring team. They will have a lot to do in this matchup to really contain Duvan Zapata, Muriel, Ilicic. They have a lot to do in this game. Napoli need to get the best out of all their players, have their defense play well again. They could have Koulibaly back, depends if he comes back with a negative test. Meret again will be between the 6 most likely, so be sure to really tune out and be sure to let me know what you guys think. Ending off Sunday, we have Benevento hosting Roma. Now Benevento did lose last time out. They are a much better side and will hope to be more consistent after going down as well. They've really fought back when teams have come to play at the Benito Stirpe, if I'm saying that right. But they will hope to give the Giallorossi a run for their money. Good challenge. Oh my god, I can't even. I'm mixing between Italian and English now. The Witches will really hope to get a good result. Inzaghi really looking for a win after going his last few matches. He's now winless in his last 5, so he would really hope to get a crucial victory here against Roma to really get them going and again push them up the standings. Ending off round 23, we have one last game on Monday, February 22nd at 2:45, which is Juventus hosting last place Crotone. Now, Juve will definitely come away with the victory here. Yes, Crotone tied them last time around, but really 2 sides who have looked much different now in the season. I do feel Juventus will definitely can definitely take this away, but as we've seen, anything can happen. Crotone can really put out a surprise. They just really have to play to the top of their game and contain Ronaldo, Morata, McKennie, Kuzeski, Chiesa. There are a lot of players that they really have to contain if they want to get results going and potentially see themselves out of the relegation. But it's going to be very tough against a very strong Pirlo-led Juventus. So anyways, those were all of the matches for round 23. Again, can we see Milan rebound, or will Inter remain first? Napoli looking again to continue and find some consistency. Will any of the bottom three teams get a victory or finally find a win and get their season turned around, or will these teams remain there? Can Torino really get something going to help push them away from the relegation zone? A lot to play for this weekend. So if you have any comments, be sure to comment below and let me know what you guys think. If you guys wanted me to talk about more about this one game, or if I did miss something, be sure to let me know as well. I'm free to, I want to hear what you guys have to say. And if I did miss something, apologies as well. And if you guys want me to talk about a specific something, or you guys want to mention, again, just put it down in the comments section. Now, if you guys haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe on our channel for more Calcio content. Click the bell to receive notifications on all our latest videos. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Calcio_bros, for all latest updates, match day updates, and again, where we post our videos and any thoughts and opinions that we have about anything. It'll all be there. So I hope to hear from you guys soon. Ciao.